This is how you crochet a Christmas stocking. This is considered an easy pattern because all you need to know past beginner techniques is how to increase and decrease single crochet. And while I'm using cotton yarn in this pattern, you can definitely substitute it for acrylic yarn, but if you want to create something super special, I would recommend using mercerized cotton. But to get started, I'm using a 4mm hook and worsted weight or medium weight yarn, and I'm going to make 13 chains. But that's it for this part. Part 2 is going to go up right after this, and be sure to like and follow so you don't miss any. For row 1, I'm going to add a single crochet into the second chain from the hook, and then I'm going to add a total of 11 single crochet along the chain using the top loop. I'm doing things a little bit different with this tutorial. So one is that I'm no longer speeding through what I like to call the boring bits because it's repetitive. I am keeping everything in real time, but I'm also going slower because the number one complaint on my videos that I get is that it's going too fast. So if this is too slow or just right or too fast still, you can let me know in the comments and I can try and adjust that better for the next tutorial. Now the other thing that I'm doing differently this time is I'm adding the written instructions, the written pattern on the video itself for this row, so that if you just want to look at that and then move on to the next one, it's right there. I'm also working on getting all of my patterns onto my website, so there you will find the written instructions, a photo tutorial, and then if you we're at the end of the thing. So we're going to put 2 single crochet into the very last chain, and then we're going to work into the bottom loop. So we're going to go around the slip knot, and we're going to find the loop that's on the opposite side of the top loop, and we're going to add 2 single crochet into that loop. And that's going to help us make that curve around, and then we're going to, from there, add 1 single crochet again into each of the next 11 chains, but we're using the opposite loop. You could technically just work into the same stitch as the other single crochet instead of picking up just 1 loop, but it does make the gap in the middle a little bit bigger, but it's your project, so if you wanted to do that, there's no problem. The other thing I'm doing is I'm working the tail from the slip knot into my stitches by simply holding it over the stitch after I put my hook through. And that way I don't have to weave it in later and I can just cut it off. But as I was saying, I have the written instructions, a photo tutorial, and then the PDF version on my website. I also have an Amazon favorites shop thing, so it has everything in there that I use in my videos and then what I use to make my videos. So if you were wondering about where you can find certain things, I'm pretty much an open book. I try to make it accessible, but I realize that I never tell anyone that I did those things. So if you want to check them out, they're there. A huge goal of mine is to make crochet accessible to everybody. So the videos and content are always going to be available for free. There's not going to be a paywall that you have to go through, but I am going to start adding a option where you can pay for an upgraded experience. It's totally up to you. I'm not using some kind of a bait and switch tactic where I bait you in with free content and then make you pay to keep it up. But it is my dream to turn this into something that can help support our family. So if you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But after the last single crochet, I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch. And that's it for round 1. Be sure to like and follow, and part 2 or part 3 is going to be posted right away. For row 2, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to add my first single crochet into the same stitch that we slip stitched into. Then I'm going to add 2 single crochet into the next stitch. This is considered an increase because we're putting 2 stitches into the same spot. And then after that, I'm going to add 1 single crochet into each of the next 9 stitches. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I'm going to add 2 single crochet into the next stitch. 1 and 2. Then 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So this is 1, 2, and then 2 single crochet into the next stitch. 1, 2, and then 1 single crochet into each of the next 9 stitches. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I'm going to double check my count. Okay, and then we're going to put 2 single crochet into the next one. This is going to be our 4th corner. And then 1 single crochet into the next. So then I'm going to skip that slip stitch. This is where we closed the round earlier in the chain 1. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the very first stitch to close round 2. Be sure to like and follow, and part 4 will be posted right after this. For row 3, I'm going to chain 1 and then single crochet into the very same stitch that I slip stitched into. And then I'm going to put 3 single crochet into the same stitch for my first corner. The way it's written here is how it would be written in a pattern. So normally when you have the number before the stitch, so 3 SC, that means that you're putting 3 single crochet into the same spot. If you have the number after the stitch, so here it's SC times 11, that means you're going to put 1 single crochet 11 times. I say that because sometimes you'll have 3 SC times 3. That means that you're putting 3 single crochet into the first stitch, 3 single crochet into the second stitch, 3 single crochet into the third stitch. It's not like that here. I'm just giving you some pattern reading tips. But after the 11th single crochet, we are going to add 3 single crochet into the next stitch. So this is the 11th. And then here's the first of the 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to add 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Then I'm going to add 3 single crochet into the next stitch. So this is 1, 2, and 3. Then 1 single crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. This is 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Then I'm going to put 3 single crochet into the next stitch for my 4th corner. So this is 1, 2, and 3. The last stitch of the round is going to be a single crochet, and then we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch. So again, I'm going to skip the slip stitch, the chain 1, and then slip stitch into the first stitch. Here I'm just going to finish off and weave in my ends, and this is it for the white part, or the top part of the stocking. Be sure to like and follow if you enjoy these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, and I'll see you in part 5. So for the actual stocking part, you can start on either side of our little rectangle, but we're going to look for a corner piece. That's these 3 single crochet, and then we're going to skip the single crochet after that and work into this one right here. Now this is called the invisible join. I already added a loop with a slip knot to my crochet hook, and I'm going to insert my hook into the back loop of that stitch, and then I'm going to move my slip knot to the back like this, and then I'm going to add a single crochet just like normal. If you do it this way, you don't have to worry about pulling up a loop and then adding a single crochet, and I find that it just adds a smoother edge along the side. From there, I'm going to continue adding 1 single crochet into each of the next 8 stitches for a total of 9 single crochet, and I am working into the back loop only for these stitches. So now that I have this platform, I want to do better about recording where I learn things, and in this case, I learned the invisible join technique from a website called Hooked on Patterns. They have really good patterns and they're really good quality, so if you have time, I would encourage you to check them out. But I never thought I'd have this platform, so all my other hacks, I don't remember where I learned them. They've just become a part of me, but in this case, I learned this after I got my platform, so I want to make sure that I give credit. I'm not sure if they were the ones who invented the invisible join technique, but it is where I learned it from, so I wanted to be transparent about it. But be sure to like and follow if you enjoy these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, and I'll see you. For rows 2 through 10, we're going to chain 1 for the turning chain, and then single crochet all the way across for a total of 9 single crochet, and then I will give you the next set of instructions for row 11. So for the rest of this video, I thought I could add a little bit of general crochet knowledge, and this time we're going to talk about the turning chain. So the turning chain is used to give you the height you need in order to start your stitches without messing up your stitch counts. And you determine how many turning chains you need by looking at the height of the stitch. So a single crochet is 1 chain high, a double crochet is 2 chains high, and a treble crochet is 3 chains high. Since a half double crochet is between a single crochet and a double crochet, you can choose if you want to do 1 or 2 chains. But if your chains are usually really tight and you're having a hard time working into the top of the turning chain for your double and treble crochet, then you can add 1 more chain. So instead of doing 2 for the double, you can go up to 3. Instead of doing 3 for the treble, you can go up to 4. And technically, that is the standard, according to the Craft Yarn Council. Be sure to like it. For row 11, we're going to start with 9 chains. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to work into the second chain from the hook and add 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 chains. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. For the next stitch, we are going to decrease. So we're going to insert our hook into the first chain and then pull up a loop, insert our hook into the next stitch, pull up another loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Then we'll finish the row by adding a single crochet into each of the next 8 stitches. That decrease is also known as a single crochet 2 together, meaning we are single crocheting 2 stitches to make 1. But that's it for row 11. I will see you in row 12. And if you enjoy these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, be sure to like and follow. I don't post every day anymore, but I try to post as much as I can with everything else going on in my life. So I appreciate you hanging out. If you have any questions about this stitch or another stitch, or you would like to request something, you can leave that in the comments of any of my videos. For row 12, we're going to use the same concept as with row 11, but we're going to chain 1, turn, and then add a single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches before we single crochet 2 stitches together, and then single crochet into the last 7 stitches, and that's going to give us a total of 15 stitches. Since that is the end of the verbal instructions, I figured I could give you some generalized crochet tips in this video as well. And these tips are based on questions that I commonly get in my comments. The more I see a question pop up, the more likely I am to, address it. Because I think there's a lot of people that have similar questions but are afraid to ask because they don't want to sound stupid. But with that said, the most effective way to keep your edges straight is by counting your stitches. Now, everybody hates counting. There's a running joke in the crochet community about how much counting sucks, and it's never going to get easier because it is so effective yet annoying. But there are some hacks. They're generally related to the rule of 10, meaning you don't count past 10. So every 10th stitch you put in a stitch marker, or you make a little tally on a sheet of paper, or you get one of those stitch counters for your index finger and you make a note on there. And then if you do ever lose count, you can just count the stitch markers, you can keep track of the stitch counter, or you can count your tallies. But be sure to like and follow for more. For row 13, we're still decreasing, so we're going to chain 1, turn, add a single crochet into each of the first 6 stitches, single crochet 2 stitches together, and then single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. Since that is the end of the verbal instructions, let's talk about tension for the rest of this video. So the most important thing about tension is that it is all muscle memory. That's all it is. It's your fingers are learning a new language, and you have to give them time and practice in order to speak that language efficiently. But beyond that, it is also how you hold your yarn, it is how you hold your hook, and it is how well you push that loop back onto the body of the hook after every single yarn over, pulling through loops, whatever it is. And it doesn't matter if you're using the pencil grip or the knife grip, the loop should always get all the way back onto the body of the hook. The easiest way to get good tension is to do the single crochet over and over and over and over again. I would do it for an entire ball of yarn and maybe do for 3 balls of yarn. Just do the single crochet until every single stitch looks the same, and then all of your stitches will look the same. For row 14, we're going to chain 1 and then turn, single crochet across 6, then single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet 6 times again, for a total of 13 stitches. So since that is the end of the verbal instructions, I'll find something else to ramble about for the rest of this video. So, I am certified to teach crochet at all skill levels. And the crochet certification is through the Craft Yarn Council. I had to get it in order to work at Michael's a few years ago because I wanted to be their crochet instructor. They got rid of their program since then, but I still have my certification. So essentially the certification is simply you show that you understand beginner techniques for the first level 1 certification, and then for level 2 you show that you have all the advanced techniques, which means you get a handbook, you read the entire handbook, and then you get a list of instructions on what to crochet. Then you send those swatches in with a binder. There's a little essay part, nothing very difficult, but that's how you get certified. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to the Craft Yarn Council. For row 15, we're going to chain 1, turn, single crochet times 5, single crochet 2 stitches together, single crochet times 6, for a total of 12 stitches. And that's it for the verbal instructions. Okay, so I don't think that everybody needs to get certified to teach crochet. I think that if you know how to crochet and you know how to show somebody, the certification process is really just an extra little bonus. But if you want to get serious about teaching and formally teach students, I would definitely recommend going through it because it helps you understand the standards. It's absolutely ridiculous how many standards there are. There's not a standard on everything. There's still a lot of leeway for artistic expression. However, when you're teaching somebody, knowing the standard helps them set a baseline so that they can make artistic decisions or informed decisions later on about how they want to crochet in the future. There's also a section on there in the handbook that shows you how to write lesson plans and how to create a program that is most beneficial to students. But let me know if you have any questions. For row 16, we're going to chain 1, turn, single crochet times 5, single crochet 2 stitches together, and then single crochet times 5 again for a total of 11 stitches. So these ramblings have been very therapeutic to me, which made me think, like, maybe I could share some of my story. I think it's interesting. Actually, I don't think it's interesting, but I've told some people and they thought it was interesting, so here we go. So I was born in Germany. I actually lived there until I was 18. German is my first language, but when I was 11, my mom got married to my stepdad, who was American, so we started American school. It was right in 7th grade in middle school, and unfortunately, when you have an accent, people think you're slow. So people would talk differently to us or with us, and middle school kids just aren't very nice. So my sister and I ended up getting rid of our German accents within 6 months, I think. And then we ended up graduating from an American high school in Germany, and that's where I joined the army. But I'll talk about that in the next video. For row 17, we are going to chain 1, turn, and then single crochet across for a total of 11 single crochet. But as I was saying, I joined the army. I was 17, and then I joined while I was still in high school. And then I graduated in June, and I went to basic training about a week after my 18th birthday in July. I did basic training in Oklahoma, and then I went to South Carolina for AIT, then I went to Georgia for airborne school, and then I was stationed in North Carolina for 4 years. There I met my husband, and then I got pregnant, and then I decided to get out, but then I didn't know how to pay for healthcare and all that stuff, so I joined the Alabama National Guard, and I was in the National Guard for 4 more years. My husband is originally from Alabama, so we decided to move here so we could be closer to family. To be honest, in hindsight, I probably would have moved back to Germany, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't exactly how I pictured it moving down here, but we've been here for 6 years now, and I really like it. But that's the abbreviated version. Okay, so for the last part, we are going to add a single crochet border. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here where the slip knot is. And I already added a slip knot and a loop to my crochet hook, and I left a longer tail because we are going to have to weave in that end. And I'm going to select that single crochet on the white stocking part, and I'm going to pick up the back loop and then add 1 single crochet, keep the slip knot in the back, and then I'm going to add my next single crochet into the side right here. I'm not going to work into any more white back loops. And from here, I'm just going to single crochet my way all the way across. I'm going to keep this at normal speed so that you can see where the hook goes into, but it goes into every single row. Because a single crochet is kind of like a block. It is supposed to be as tall as it is wide. I'm also going to put 2 single crochet into every single corner. And yeah. But since I gave you the abbreviated version of my story, let me give you my mental health history because that one's more interesting to me. So, I was recently diagnosed as bipolar, and it's been fun because a lot of things from my past make a lot of sense, and there's a lot of things that I didn't connect or didn't think that were related that I now know are related. For example, when I was in high school, I had periods of being extremely overproductive or overachiever, high achiever. I was in all the advanced classes. I was doing all the extracurricular activities, all the internships, everything that you could possibly do in high school, I did. And then I would crash, and I always called it burnout. Because, it makes sense that, like, if you push yourself too far, then you hit burnout. Well, it turns out that I was having episodes of mania or hypomania. I don't think I was ever manic to the point where it was a problem because I never was hospitalized for any of it. But I was way too productive, not sleeping. And then I would go into depressive episode, and both of those would last months. I mean, just months of where I didn't want to get out of bed. And I would sleep more than normal and just different things. Now, over this summer, I had a allergy attack. I get them every single year, and I usually get steroid shots, but again, it's not a big deal. Like, it is a big deal to me because I don't like being sick like that, and they don't go away, and I know it was allergy related because it only happened whenever I would step outside. But this last time, I waited my 2 weeks. I think I usually wait 14 days of hell before I go to the doctor. And I'm like, hey, I can't deal with this. I have 2 kids. I need to be able to function. I can't function anymore. Can I get a steroid shot? And they're always like, yeah, we can give you a steroid shot. No problem. So I get my steroid shot, and I'm on my way. But I'm pretty sure I was manic leading up to that. So, because while I was feeling sick, I kept saying, I feel like my mental health is going down. Like I can feel myself coming down. I feel like every minute I feel more depressed. And I have a history with depression and anxiety, so I know what depression feels like. I'm talking about the kind of depression that isn't just, it's like a mental, it's like there's a person inside of your head that's just turning off the happiness. And that's what was happening. So the steroid shot apparently is a trigger for mania. So while I was coming down, I got the steroid shot and it shot me up into mania and I lost it. I had a complete breakdown. I was about to call 911 on myself. It was about to go very, very south, but it didn't. My husband was there to save the day. And I was able to keep it in the bedroom. Like I locked myself into the bedroom and I tried to, control it as best as I could. And then eventually I passed out and everything was good. But I was like, this isn't normal. I don't like feeling this way. I'm going to the doctor. But in true U.S. healthcare fashion, I was able to get an appointment 3 weeks later. And I kind of explained to the doctor what was going on. I didn't say everything about the steroid shot because I didn't know it was a mania trigger. All I know is I had that episode. I had no idea it was related to the steroid shot. So he did some tests, whatever. I'm not going to go into all of that, but I was diagnosed as bipolar. And now, since then, I've been going to sleep earlier. I've been, trying to deal with it. But one of the biggest things is I can't stay up late anymore. A trigger for mania is not enough sleep, and a trigger for depression is too much sleep. So what I would do is I would stay up until about midnight, 1 o'clock, filming these videos. And then I would go to bed, sleep for 2-3 hours, get up with the kids, and go about my day. I can't do that anymore. I now go to bed at a timely hour, even when I'm not tired, even when I have insomnia. So, yeah. But on the plus side, my mental health has never been this good. My videos aren't doing as good as they did when I was posting every day or 5 times a day. But my mental health is better. So, I'd say it's worth it. I don't know why I'm sharing this with you. I just feel like we're friends. It's therapeutic, not gonna lie. But that's it for the Christmas stocking. I hope you enjoyed it. This is how I weave in my ends. I use a bent blunt tapestry needle or tapestry needle, and I just work through the back of the stitches. So I try to go inside of the different loops, inside of the stitch. I don't try to go in between stitches, but just pick up 1 or 2 loops from the back. Now a key is that you have to go in 3 directions because yarn can't really travel around corners. So even if you can't get it into those loops, because even in this case the needle is quite a bit big compared to the stitches, as long as you go in 3 directions, the likelihood of your fabric unraveling is pretty much close to 0. But that's pretty much it. The bend part of the tapestry needle definitely helps work into the stitches, so you don't have to maneuver it quite as much. For example, I can hold my needle directly underneath while still having it at an angle, and instead of having to move my entire wrist, I can just twist it within my fingers. And these needles, I think I got a set of 6 for like $6. If that, they came in a little pack. I think they even came with stitch markers. I don't know. I do have them in my Amazon favorites list if you want to check them out, but I definitely recommend them.